Hey everybody, Vaughn here with the Monster Vlog, and welcome to day 27 of Fit-Tober. I just finished my workout. I did it was, let me see, what was her name? I loved it. I absolutely loved the workout that I did today, y'all. Well, yeah, pretty kitty. More to health. It flew by, and let me check something. I just wanted to check to make sure that I was getting the screen name right. It's my friend Lola. She had said, Vaughn. And I'm like, Lola, have you tried putting on your belly dance belt to put a little fun in your workouts? And it's, she said, I always love the noise coins make when I exercise. And I hadn't done that in ages because it'll just like slide right off of my 30 pounds ago. I was very apple framed. Like my waistline, I wish I'd gotten measurements 30 pounds ago because I really do feel like I've lost so much weight in my waist. Like I'm getting a little more hourglassy. Like I'm almost more pear-shaped than apple-shaped right now, but I don't care. I'm living my best life. I don't care what shape I am. It feels good. And I put on my coin belt, Lola, like you recommended, and that 25-minute workout freaking flew by. Like, could not believe it was over. Like, I double checked, I touched the screen, I was like, 28 minutes. You know, there it goes. And so I had a bunch of thoughts today as well. There we go. Workout complete. Which the link to the video that I followed along with will be down in the video description if you guys want to get your steps in today, get some blood flowing and the body moving. So we did, that's a 27-day streak, you guys. Personal record, like, that feels really good. I had a bunch of thoughts, and I started writing it in crayon, but that's okay. Also, proof that I did my workout to myself, and also, it's not just proof that I actually worked out, it's I am collecting footage for one day. I'm going to be where I'm going towards now, and I want to be able to look back and see and have the actual footage in unflattering angles, in real outfits that I wear regularly, to be able to give myself a frame of reference of how I am changing over time, because I'm just really digging collecting this data about myself. It's like I'm not my own pet hamster, but I'm kind of treating it like I'm my own lab rat. And I'm like, well, let's see what happens when we feed her at regular intervals. Let's see what happens when we're not constantly spiking her blood sugar. Let's see what happens when we enrich her environment and stimulate her mentally and physically. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, it's the number one on the list today is remove the time constraint. Every time I start to get frustrated about my progress, it's because of a time constraint. It's because I'm not doing what I need to do at a fast enough rate to get to where I'm going by deadline. My only deadline, y'all, is when I'm buried in this earth. So I do need to get it done before then, which is hopefully way off in the distance. I know, baby. But I don't need to be putting arbitrary time constraints. Like, I don't need to be, because a real easy one is we get to go see the fam every Christmas. And I'd really love to, like, not have a conversation with myself about how my family loves me for me. They're not going to judge me by I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was last time they saw me or any of these things. I would like to be able to go and have my loved ones not be worried about my health based off of my size. And I know that it's not fair to make judgments about people based off of their size, but whenever I'm struggling to get up and down off the ground, and when I'm having third helpings of dessert, and when I'm doing these different things, like, it's right of them to be worried. If I were slamming shots at Thanksgiving at 10 in the morning, I'd expect my family to be like, is Vaughn okay? So if I'm slamming shots of cheesecake, anyways, I don't want my loved ones to be worried about me. I want them to be able to just be happy to see me and me happy to see them and feel good enough to be fully present. But that holiday is always a little bit of a time constraint. Birthdays or different events whenever, like, we go to, like, vend, and man, that was really hard doing our first vending event after after COVID and after Randy hurting his wrists. Like we didn't do conventions for like 3 years. And then to go and see people who hadn't seen me in 3 years, and I was 50 pounds heavier, and it was just, I didn't know, and everybody was wonderful, but I was having problems. That was another example of a time constraint that made me feel like I was failing because I didn't meet my goal by that time. And so I drew this chart of, this line is consistency, and this line is the yo-yo diet examples. Let me go let this doggy outside. He's losing his mind. Okay, he's gonna bark here in a minute, but he's outside now. These fluctuations, these high points and low points, those are the high points whenever I'm really restricting my calories and I'm losing weight and I'm working out hard and I'm like power mode. And then the dips are whenever I'm doing my binges, regardless, whatever they represent. Those are the areas where I am most vulnerable to being marketed to by yo-yo diets, fads, different things. Like, that is when I am most vulnerable, because I'm either experiencing peak motivation and inspiration and I want to keep that going, or I'm down in the dumps and I'm looking for something to like make me feel something and like feel motivated or feel inspired or feel anything other than this like depression that sets in. And so I'm like, how can I achieve this consistency? And I feel like I am achieving, at least for this month, that I've been actually finally making it a priority. Finally making it a priority. I completely forget what I was talking about. I was just like, I can't believe I finally made it a priority. To achieve that consistency, I've been doing self-parenting. And part of my self-parenting is providing a stable environment for myself and a biggest part of that is regular meal times and regular bedtime and waking up, because that gives me a structure that I can function within. I'm getting enough sleep. Let me go let the dog in. So there is my stress and mood regulation is probably the most important thing in a lot of this, and getting sleep, yeah baby, is the number one thing, you guys. Like, I really do think we need that sleep, y'all. They call it beauty rest, but it's not for external beauty, it's for just the beauty of your life. Getting enough sleep is so important. And I know, like, I've struggled with insomnia in the past. I know a lot of y'all do as well. And it's just, this is a thing that kind of happens, and it's like, but still having a consistent time that I go and make myself lay down, and I try to, the ship doesn't stabilize all at once. If I've been spending years and years in choppy seas, my ship doesn't just get righted, and even if the ship is nice and stable, I've still got my wobbly sea legs trying to acclimate myself to this stability. I do hope that makes sense. But establishing regular sleep times and then making sure that I get up. I slept in by about 45 minutes to an hour this morning, but that's okay, because I still, like, if I'm not up by like 10, I'm getting up by 10, and it keeps me from sleeping in until 2, which is used to, we'd go to bed at 2 in the morning, we'd sleep in until 2 in the afternoon because we didn't quite fall asleep, or, it's just, it was a mess. I used to be a freaking mess, you guys. Like, we'd work like 16-hour days, sleep for 12 hours, work for another 16. So we had no regular sleep schedule. It was whenever we couldn't go any farther, we fell into bed exhausted, and then we slept as long as we needed to, which I think we'd be a lot worse off. My husband and I would be a lot worse off if we had been neglecting getting our full sleep. But that is what that is. Waking up and going to bed at regular hours. I'm going to get through this, you guys. My 2 brain cells are struggling, but we'll get through it. And regular meal times. Now, I'm not saying that means everybody else's meal time. It's what can we make regular for Randy and I, for what works for us. And it's 1:30 in the afternoon. We had breakfast, for me, was a protein shake, and I gave Randy like an old apple and some cheese and a pack of crab meat. But those are the things that we had on hand that are easy and it's high protein. And like, I was like, sorry, babe, here's breakfast, and like got on with it. But we try to have, you know, we'll be eating again at like typically like 3 and then 7. But we do, I guess folks would call it intermittent fasting, but we're not really doing that on purpose because some mornings we wake up and we're hungry and we're eating breakfast at 10. But it's 10 is when I have my coffee and first breakfast if we're hungry. Then we have second breakfast at noon, or first breakfast if that's whenever we're hungry. We have lunch at 3 and we have dinner at 7. And that's just what works for us right now. And that's another thing, is these rules, like, you know, for functioning that I set up and then try to function within, I find something that works until it doesn't work, and then we change it. And that's my favorite currently. But yeah, that's my thoughts for the day, is that I think by providing myself a stable environment, it's helping me to not be stressed or panicking about, because like the worst thing, the cycle I kept falling into that was the worst for our health, I think, is we'd be working those 16-hour days. I had no plan for what we were going to eat. So I wouldn't have anything defrosted. I might not even, I mean, I've been pretty good over these past couple of years about at least keeping ingredients in the house, but we still went and like ate fast food way more than what we needed to, way more. And it was purely, in hindsight, sometimes we just wanted a cheeseburger, and that's okay. But sometimes we just didn't have an alternative set up and lined up, and we were hangry right then. And that's whenever we would go to fast food. And that's a big part of what got us to where we are now, with our weight, which that's okay. It's what we did. I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm not worried about it. All I can do is start right now and set myself up for future success. And that's kind of been the mindset that I've had for a while now. But I wasn't able to set down the weight of, you know, I had to practice that mindset for a couple of years before I was able to take off the backpack of all of the grudges I was holding against myself for all of the failures I had ever had, real or perceived, you know, and so I had to hope and kind of pray for that clean slate to finally be able to move forward without having to dig my way up out of this ball pit of guilt. And a little bit of self-loathing, you know, it's like, I can understand being mad at myself, that it's like, Vaughn, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is our life, girl, you know what's gonna happen. And it's like, cheeseburger, you see, I'm like, okay, yeah, cheeseburgers are pretty good, but Vaughn, behave. And it's like, so it was not a productive conversation with myself for a really long time, but I was still striving towards that freedom of mindset. And I think sometimes things don't happen overnight and you just have to keep trying. So I'm going to keep on trying. But I also did a whole bunch of like other notes. I did not. Our workout with the More to Health blew by, that cardio, that 25 minutes. And then like a third of the way into my weightlifting, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, done. Don't want to. Nope. And then I did it anyways. And that was the moment that I made the decision. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Making this vlog goes a long way in keeping me accountable, because if I didn't do it, I'd have to sit right here and tell y'all that I just gave up, that I just quit. I didn't do it. And I really don't want to let you guys down. And I don't want to let me down. I especially don't want to let my future self down, my future Randy, my future Maddie and Abby and all of our loved ones. Like, I do not want to let them down. And to sit here and have to say into the camera that I just didn't feel like it today, that's not a good enough excuse to me. So I'm really proud of myself for not quitting today. And I had wrote down the second I made the decision, I was like, made the decision to not quit and cut out the last batch of supersets. Because supersets, though, like, really, I dislike doing supersets, but I think that's part of the workout, is getting better at changing gears mentally. I need to just, the gears keep sticking, and I don't know what I need to do to get to where I can change gears without that frustration. But I'm going to keep seeking the answer, because I'm not going to find it by just sitting there waiting for the answer to come to me. I need to go out and seek it, and I seek by doing. So these are my thoughts for the day, however rambled, or no, I'm going to read you these other ones too. I try to visualize and kind of daydream about what maintenance will look like. Because whenever I feel like, cause social media, y'all, that's why I made that chart, is I'm so mad at social media, because there are people with predatory sales tactics. Not everybody, but there are people and organizations with predatory sales tactics that are aiming at all of us, at anybody who's in one of these dips. And the more that I feel like I'm getting swung from one extreme to the other with my emotions, with my habits and stuff, that instability, the more vulnerable I am to succumbing to those predatory marketing tactics. And it's like, I don't need a quick fix. I don't need to overpay for somebody's coaching program that isn't gonna magically make me feel like doing it. Like, it's, or motivational courses, or there's so much stuff that I'm just kind of like, it scatters me. It scatters my focus, which makes me even more vulnerable to, marketing and stuff. And it's like, I know what I need to do, and that is to just keep baby stepping my way through this. And if I can keep the blood sugar spikes from swinging me back and forth, if I can keep showing up and doing my bare minimum, my consistency, and just showing up, that's what's going to get me that line, you guys. And that's gonna get us to where we go. But what helps me to regather my focus when it has been just blown apart by whatever sponsored social media ad I just saw for like noon, that's like blah 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 blah. I just think about, what is my maintenance going to be looking like? The me that I want to become, what is she going to do when she's having a hard day? How is she going to handle it when she's hangry? She's going to get a protein shake and keep powering through. She's going to have, oop, that was loud, sorry. Just picturing, what's her day going to be like? She's the kind of girl who makes her bed in the morning. It's not bounce quarter off of it made, but it's like, I tried. It's good enough. Like, and I vacuum and I do the things that I need to do so that my environment stays conducive to me being stable. And I think there's a huge value in providing stable environments to ourselves in any way that we're able to. And it's like, even whenever, as a kid, when we were living in tents, Dad made sure that we had cereal there, for handfuls of cereal for breakfast. And we did have, we'd need to be waking up by a certain time, and we still had bedtimes. We were living in tents, but we still had bedtimes. And so just having, and at the time, I didn't know that, that everything was teetering on such a fine point that, if the wind blew too hard one way or the other, everything was going to fall apart. I didn't know, because I had that stability. And so having that stability now as an adult makes me so much more balanced and able to accept, or so much more able to receive and respond thoughtfully to what life is throwing at me. And I think that's where I need to be right now. Because for years, and for those of y'all who follow along with our craft channel, I'm sure you've heard me say that I'll feel like we're on a rug that any second is going to get pulled out from underneath us. And it's like, so focusing on the ways that I can make my core stable, very, not literally, but like very metaphorically, make the core of our home as stable as possible, then we'll be able to avoid those that roller coaster. So I don't know. It's still the seeds of thoughts taking form out of just this murky chaos that has been my life. But I love it, and I'm still trying to spin myself. If I'm just full of chaos, I'm trying to spin the threads of myself so I can weave it into the tapestry of my life. And we're working on it. We're working on it, you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow for day 28. Let me know how you're doing down in the comments, and maybe one day I'll have a coherent thought to share. But until then, thank you for tuning into my babbling. But I'll see you tomorrow, you guys. Until then, keep on keeping on. Mwah. Bye.